What if Jack Quaid couldn't feel pain? I ask myself that question on a daily basis. Let's talk about Novocaine.
I'm just a regular guy with a regular job, but I've got this condition where I don't feel pain. Hey, there we go.
What's up, Flick fans? I was super excited for this. I believe conceptually, this is the type of action movie that we're all looking for. Just a random, lonely guy who cannot experience pain. It's a medical condition, if you will, but all of a sudden, his girlfriend, or the girl that he really likes, gets kidnapped, and he says, you know what? Screw it. I have never felt this way before about anyone because I've never had really the courage to ever talk to this character before. I want to start there. I thought they built up this very what could have been cliche, and it is cliche, but because the two performances are so good, building up that in an extremely heartwarming way is very important. And so you getting to know Jack Quaid's character. Amber Midthunder from Prey fame plays Sherry. I thought she did a wonderful job. There were some questions I had in the beginning, like how is their chemistry going to work, just because it feels like he's such an out-of-the-box kind of guy. Is he going to be too awkward to the degree where I'm not laughing? I'm more feeling a little cringe for the guy. But I thought the script did a great job of allowing his charm to kind of soak through the screen. And it's Jack Quaid. Now, I'm not saying he's out of the box in this film. Very firmly in the type of character that we expect him to be in. He's either doing that and likable, or doing that and inevitably unlikable, which we saw another example of early on this year. Regardless, if you have a complaint with Jack Quaid because of the lack of range, I think that's more so the roles that he's taking. This is a similar role, but it is one of his more likable characters in general because they just built him, constructed him, and wrote him in a way that is oh so charming. Charming, but also he's a guy who doesn't feel pain. And so he's going to great lengths every single day, from eating solid food to making sure he's watching every time he goes to the bathroom. He's got a little alarm set, which I thought was a great reoccurring joke. A lot of things you have to consider. And so when they establish this is so, or trying to be so grounded in the beginning, when they start to break their own rules a little later on in the movie, you do kind of sit back and question things, right? But you're having so much fun, it almost doesn't feel like a big deal. Now, when the film's over and you start to reflect on those inconsistencies, it's like, all right, well, maybe, that should have rendered him a bit more useless in that scene. And yeah, they've got ways around that. There's something he does to inject himself with some energy all throughout this movie. But the violence in this film, it's so insane, ridiculously over the top in a great way. Again, I use the word fun. I use the word entertaining. Novocaine is almost a blast from the past in that type of way, but it's also very reminiscent to the movies that we're getting right now. Early on this year with Ke Huy Quan, not a great example in Love Hurts. Novocaine, different type of story, similar vein, a fun action movie. This one kind of nailed what it was going for. But again, you've got to put those frustrations to the side, because I feel like people that don't focus on suspension of disbelief with a movie like Novocaine, they will be frustrated while they're watching.
What have they done to us? What did they do to us?
But I look at our directors, Dan Berk, Robert Olsen, don't know much about them, but I thought this combination was great, right? You've got, a film that is so simple and straight to the point with an idea that is so conceptually interesting. This guy not feeling pain. And they take that the extra mile, more so as this movie goes. But it's really his search for this girl that he's kind of fallen in love with. And we're not entirely sure if she feels the same way, but it sure seems like they have great chemistry. And because these two actors have great chemistry, it provides us a reason to care. And as conventional as a romance like that and a movie like this is, the actors are so daggone charming, I cared. And I was really into the beginning of this movie. And I'm thinking, this is as good of a job as I expected them to do with Novocaine. Not blowing away expectations, more so matching those, which is great. Now, you get further into the movie, deeper into the plot, and I feel like the script started to think that it was outsmarting us, way smarter than the audience, right? Not in a way to where they're rubbing it in our faces, but more so like, you'll never see this coming. I saw a few things coming from not a mile away, but maybe half a mile.
You didn't see that coming.
Jacob Batalon is in here. I wasn't blown away with how they handled the friend character. While I give kudos to the script for the chemistry and how they handle the characters in the beginning, the overarching plot does become a little more conventional as it goes. But again, Jacob Batalon still does a nice job. Ray Nicholson, second time we've seen him over the last couple of months. I think he's really good in this movie. The villainous entity, that side of the story, was one of the weaker aspects of the movie. But performance-wise, I'm liking his screen presence. And so, I look at this film something as if you start to pick apart the puzzle pieces, then yeah, it looks a little sloppy on its surface. But if you piece them together, not perfectly, but in the way that this movie does, ultimately, it provides the ride and experience, the adrenaline rush, because that's kind of what we're going off of with a guy who doesn't feel pain, that you need. And it's not a guy who has a special set of skills Liam Neeson style. And so there are going to be fights that he loses, but ultimately comes out alive because of his inability to suffer through the consequences of his actions. And that provides some great humor when somebody's interrogating him. They think he's feeling the pain. He's just trying to act like he feels pain. That's a great sequence. Not laugh out loud humor, but some great gags, giggles, laughs along the way. And it's a film that's having fun with itself. Ultimately, you want a movie like this to do that. Love Hurts did not do it earlier in the year. I think of a film like Nobody. It's got a sequel coming out. That was a blast. This is a blast. I want to know, you're watching Novocaine this weekend. Are you a fan of these actors? Jack Quaid, is he doing the same old thing? Or is he just having a fun time with his roles? I'd love to know your thoughts down below. There's another movie this weekend called Black Bag. Let me know if you want me to watch that. And a Netflix film called The Electric State. So subscribe, but I'd love to see your comments below. Novocaine is an amped-up blast. Fully aware of how much fun this wacky premise is delivering at every turn, the level of gleeful mayhem this action-packed outing manages to achieve is impressive, incorporating some grotesque violence that will even satisfy horror fans. Jack Quaid is great, brings the impressive level of charm and likability. There are inconsistencies that keep it from reaching the next level, and the third act begins to lose sight of what made it so unique. But this is a worthy watch in the theater, and I think crowds will have a good time with this because of the gags and because of the chemistry between our two leads on screen. Let me know what you think of Novocaine. Was it the adrenaline rush you were looking for? I'll see you in my next review.